Hi, today I would like to explain how it is written, this prelude in B minor, the number 474 of my method for soprano recorder. I think it could be interesting for people that is involved and interested in writing music to follow the way, the idea that I had for writing this prelude. This prelude is based upon 7 chords. It's not my invention at all. 7 chords in some relationship. Each chord the first chord go to the second. That is a fifth lower. So the first is the chord of B minor, B, and then fifth note above down. I find B, B, A, G, F, E. It is the second chord is E. The chord that starts with E, and then fifth note down, E. I have to think the name in English. E, D, C, B, A, and then starting from A, G, F, D, F, E, D, and then D, C, B, A, G, and then G, F, E, D, C, and then the new chord C, B, A, G, F, and this is the last one, F, because after F, E, D, C, B. We come back and B. This is a famous relationship between chords. It's used in a Passacaglia by Handel. It uses a lot of folk music, also in classical music. Normally the good author don't follow exactly, completely these 7 chords, but change after the 5th, after the 6th. But if you find a good way for using it, runs very well, because the relationship between the first chord and the second is a relationship of fifth, and this is the strong relationship that you can have in music. Etc., etc. The question is how you will make this chord, because a chord is made with 3 notes. For example, the first chord, B minor, is B, D, F sharp, and you can use this note in a very different way, in a lot of different ways. And the second problem is what is the relationship between the first chord and the second, how you go from the first to the second, how to use the second chord, and how to go from the second to the third, etc., etc., etc. I will play this music with a tenor, so it will make less noise than with a soprano, but the notes are the same. And this is after 8th chord. In the first chord, before I will write on Moses chord the 7th chord that you can use in the tonality D minor. There are these, and then I will write this 7th chord in this order. It's better when you compose music more than to use the name of the chord like a guitar player, is to use the number of the chord, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Because if you use the number, when you will write in another tonality, you are not named, they are changed, but the number could be the same. I could be a piece in A minor, or in A major, or in C minor, in C major, where there is the same number used. First, chord number 1, chord number 4, chord number 7, chord number 3, chord number 6, chord number 2, chord number 5, chord number 1. Okay, so the sequence of this chord is this one. You will see the 3 notes, a different level because there is a fifth of difference, but what is important is the name of the note. So the first chord is B, D, F. You can use it normally, B, D, F. We don't need to make 4 times, I can make just 1 time. And this is the 7th chord in this series, in this order. I decided to start with the 5th of the first chord, B, D, F sharp, the F sharp, the dominant, and then to make the 3rd of the chord, and then the fundamental of this chord. Okay? You can write this, for example. In this case, the way in which I use the chord number 1 is exactly the same of the way in which I use the chord number 2, number 4, and the chord number 7, and the chord number 3, and the chord number 6, 2, 5, 1. But in this piece I decided to make some couples, relationship couple. I founded something for going from 1 to 4, but I repeat the same schema from 7 to 3rd, and then from 6th to 2nd, and then from 5th to 1. The idea is to make something harmonically for the first chord, and some more melodically it was a lot of possibility. I can use the same schema of repetition and changing. I'm sorry. For example, in this case I used circa the same schema for all the chord. Or I can use in the first chord the same structure that here I use for the chord number 4. So I could write I'm sorry, huh? so to use the same pattern for each chord. But I decided to use two different patterns, each group of two chords. We can say 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. The first is harmonical, and the second etc. This is important to recognize, to understand. The second idea that I put is not to finish with the number 1, but to finish as at the end of the folia Corelli, not 5 1, but 5 1 5 5 1 5. Why? The bar number 4 had to be these had, for respect the structure exactly, the bar number 1 2 3 4 has to be this one. I play for the beginning. But making this, the piece seems to be finished. So instead, in bar 4, instead of making the chord 5 going to the chord 1, the fifth to the first, I make 5 going to 1 5. I stopped on the chord number 5, and this is more interesting for continuing, because if I finish really with the chord number 1, finish, stop, the piece is finished, I don't need to continue. But if I end this first part on the chord number 5, the fifth, the end is like a question, the point of question, I don't know, punto interrogativo. The people will ask what will happen after. And what happened after? After is exactly the same schema, exactly the same, but with some change. Instead of making F, 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 D, F, 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 B, I change the second note. Okay? And instead of making in the second chord I went to the B, the chord is B, G, E, so I did instead of I wrote. Why? It was something that arrived from the first change. Instead of it was so with this second note higher. So I did, and then after it's very easy because you continue. First 4 7 3, second 5. First 4 7 3 6, second 5 1. instead of finish like the first sentence with a suspension of the fifth degree, I finished really with the number 1. This is really the end of something. And what happened now? I used the first 3 notes, pam, 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 F, 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 for making something that is in middle, like a cadenza, something for I worked upon this F, and in a very simple way, but I hope it works very well. F, 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 again, F, 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 again, octave lower, F, 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 and after, the second idea, F, G, F, 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 G, F, F, and then a fragment of this idea, G, F, G, F, G, F, G, F, until here is very simple. But now we have to do something to arrive at the chord of fifth for create the condition for coming on the chord at the beginning of the piece. And in effect, what I did, I make the chord of the fifth, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, but before each note I make the note half tone higher. And after something that we met before, and now a melodical, a melisma, for finishing with the F that is the dominant of and that's related with this chord. This is a complicated way of making just this chord. Okay, and now the piece come back, and the first sentence is exactly the same as before. Exactly. Now, before was and now is a version different, more dramatic, more difficult, technical, difficult. Normally in one piece, in a piece, the more difficult parts are at the end, and this is a great problem for people that is recording this piece, because they play good the easy things after 2 pages, they arrive at the end, and this is the most difficult part. For making something more difficult for the student, I use more the IB. This is a version little more complicated than this one. And now is, and then exactly the same. And now is the end of the piece. So, a piece both made with this 7/8 chord. sorry. This eighth chord, just this, with 1, 2 long sentences, a part in the medium that is like a cadenza, and then again the first sentence exactly the same, and the second, that is a variation of the first, just with some change. So as you can see, the structure is very easy. I hope it has been useful. Bye bye.